Thank you guys for coming. This is the Real Talk at the Round Table. We are glad you are here. We have Coach William here and Coach Tiffany, and we are glad you are here.
Yeah, really, really, really glad that you are here. Yeah, we've got Coach Tiffany here as our special guest, and I was blessed to sit down with her with a consultation. She actually found me on her Ramsey uh, headquarters looking for a coach, just kind of bounce ideas off of, and we had a blast. We had a blast over that hour, didn't we, Tiffany?
We
Uh,
did.
and just to kind of have this as a continuation, just to kind of
Yeah.
have this as a continuation to talk about our coaching practices and hey, whatever comes up. This is live, unscripted, raw. So David, come on in here and
Well,
help me out here.
being that you just mentioned that you found her, she found you through the Ramsey leads, I have to say this, and all the coaches out there, you know this. Any coach that's any good is going to have a coach. So all the good coaches, they have coaches, and this
Yeah.
was a coach searching for a coach. Look at
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's
I say that
profound.
all the time. I tell people, I said, coaches need coaches. Coaches have coaches.
Hmm.
It
All the
may
good ones
sound,
do.
go ahead.
Yeah, all of the good ones do. It's like a doctor. Doctors don't see themselves.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's hard to see it's hard to see our situations objectively, and some places are just hard to reach.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds like a dental ad. Some places are hard to reach.
It's like way back here on molar number 17.
Well, when we're in the niche, where we're doing it, it's hard for us to actually be able to see what's going on. You take a couple, both of them say they're the right one, right? And neither of them are. It takes a little bit of both, but you need the outside perspective to be able to see that.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you this question, Tiffany. Um, how's the weather there?
The typical icebreaker question, look from a coach to another. Like it sounds familiar to me, but the weather's actually been very Texas like. One day it's cold, the next day it's raining, the next day it's warm, the next day it's sunny. So we have a bit of everything today. Well, the other day I actually had to turn on my AC because it had gotten that hot in here. Yeah, but mind you, I had the heat on the day before and had to turn the air on the next day and the heat back on the day after that.
That makes for a pretty high electric bill, or maybe it's gas that you're using. Remind us and the listeners here where you're calling in from.
Dallas, Texas.
Dallas,
So the
Texas.
DFW
Dallas,
area.
Texas.
Yeah.
So that Mother Nature there's bipolar.
No, multiple personality, because bipolar is just two. Multiple personality is definitely more than one. So Texas, I think, is multiple personality disorder.
I got it.
Yeah.
I got it. I got it. So yeah, more than just two weather climates going on here in Dallas, Texas. Well, it's really good to have you here.
Hmm.
Yes,
Um,
thank you.
and shortly before the podcast aired, you and I we were talking about uh, doing video content on social media. And the importance of us coaches being out in front of potential clients, reminding them like who our niche is, or what our niche is, what we're all about, our core beliefs. Talk a little bit about that, the challenges that you face, the victories that you've experienced. Yeah.
Yes, so my niche, it isn't your typical. It's something that a lot of people don't know about. So on top of me enrolling clients, I'm also having to educate people on exactly what my niche is and what it's about. So I am a holistic life and detox coach. So that comes with a lot. People hear the word detox and they're like, oh, let me drink something and cleanse my body and lose weight and all that, which is a part of detoxing. But what I do holistically is I help individuals detox their mind, body, and their spirit so that they can move forward in a transformative way.
I'm going to jump in right there. I love how you brought that up because now Will knows this. Will's usually the one that sets up the guests. I don't even know who's coming, but last month I was starting up a talking about getting ready to do a fast. Today's my first official day. I'm doing a whole month fast to recalculate my body. So talk about a detox. I'm detoxing my body.
Yeah.
So
Let me just say this. I did not plan this. This is God in His sovereignty. So that's really cool. Really cool. David, you must have all kinds of questions, and then you must have all kinds of insights that you can
Oh,
offer David and myself too, because I'm all about some health and fitness and detox. I actually stepped out of agreeing to do this with David. I said, I don't think that this is a good idea. I'll fast processed foods, candy, sugars. Like, I'll do that.
so you're going on a diet.
And David says, I'm going on a diet. Uh, and that's fair because I did step out. So there's that. Now, uh,
So going at that, we're just going to go into this a little bit, but we were talking about it, and I was like, maybe, maybe not. We'll see, whatever. I was kind of like wishy-washy. And then Will jumps in, hey, I'll do it with you. I was like, okay, I'll go ahead and do it. So then I started doing all the research and figuring out exactly what do I need to do to make sure this is productive and stuff like that. And so, but yeah, Will's the one that got me involved, got me going into it.
and ran.
and ran. Yeah, and I ran for a couple different reasons. One was a reason from empathy because my brother here, David, he is diabetic, like you just learned, and I was just concerned for him. I was like, this could be,
Pretty
detrimental.
bad.
Um, so I was like, maybe we don't need to. So I was like, okay, if I do that, then maybe that'll encourage him to like, follow my lead a little bit. He's like, no, I'm doing this. I'm like, okay, I didn't want to be responsible for like some catastrophic failure, just so I'm torn there. And then for some selfish reasons too.
And a limiting
Uh,
belief.
for some, yeah, what'd you say?
And a limiting belief.
Hmm.
And a limiting belief. You're right there. Um,
Hmm.
the selfish reasons. It's taken me a year to build the muscle mass that I have built, and just to think about that going away and then having to start it, I was just like, that was my other limiting belief, but just from a realistic standpoint too, because if it takes a while to build muscle mass, then it's something that you're gonna have to build back. But anyway, yeah. So those are my two reasons. Yeah.
But Will, I'm going to challenge you.
Hmm.
You seen I was drinking protein drinks. So you
Yeah.
decided to start drinking them.
Right.
When you started drinking protein drinks, then you started building mass.
It definitely helped.
Yeah. The thing with that, David, congratulations to you. Kudos. It's not easy. I'm actually on my way into, which we booked this months ago, but I have my 3-year anniversary detox coming up on the 4th of this month. And when I do that detox, like I completely shut in, shut everyone out, shut everything out, social media, phones, everything. So the timing actually could have not have been any better right now. So for 10 days, again, just tapping in, which is what started my detox journey, and which is why I'm introducing my clients to detoxing your life, detoxing your body, mind, spirit. Um, but Will, I encourage everyone to have an accountability partner. And I think that's what you and David had going on, for a nice amount of time for you to even see. I would still give you kudos as well for stepping into it and knowing what you were ready for, what you were not ready for. But the back and forth teeter totter that you were doing with yourself, that is exactly what I do on a regular basis, is stepping outside of what you're used to, stepping outside of fear, stepping outside of, well, maybe I can't. Or like you said, him being diabetic. You were more worried about Dave's, ailment than you doing it yourself. So the fact that you both still had that accountability and support in one another, that's what it's all about. Because even if you would have not, had Dave, or Dave, vice versa, would have not had you, there's no telling where either of you would have been. You probably would have done something that you probably would not ready for, and it would have probably made you scared to want to do it again. Dave, on the other hand, he's like, I said I'm doing it, so I'm doing it. He could have given up and then felt like I didn't even start. So you all had two different perspectives. One finished and the other was very supportive. Still, but it starts with that mindset shift. And even coaching, that was something, like I said, I'm used to clients coming to me. I'm used to, working for a company that's bringing clients, and like I said, I'm getting paid regardless. So stepping into coaching full time, I had to dig into myself, dig inner, go all the way in. What can I offer? What can I talk about? What do I love talking about? And a lot of it is personal because I'm going on my own detox, journey again in 2 days. So a lot of it, while I may be in the coaching seat, I'm still a client myself. I'm still my own client, because the same way I'm teaching others to detox their bodies and detox their lives and their spirits, and I'm about to do the exact same thing. And I do it at least like 2 times a year. So you never stop working. You never stop working. And that's something
Super
that a lot of people don't
curious.
know.
I'm super curious, Tiffany. I want to know. I'm hearing some feedback. I hope that's not coming out really
I don't
strong.
hear
But
it.
anyway, I want to know. You said you detox twice a year,
At least.
at least.
Yeah.
Tell us some details. I'm curious.
Um, so it's 10 days. I am vegan. So it's a vegan detox. You do not have to be vegan to perform this detox. But it is calorie deficient. You're pretty much let me just start over. So the gist of the detox is to remove waste and toxins from your body because it's a holistic cleanse. Um, you can't think straight if you're full of crap, right? And if you're full of crap, you're thinking crap, you're feeling like crap.
Love that. You were like, we're right.
So, it's just cleansing everything out. And another thing too, food. We rely on food so much. And just think about it. When we hear the word detox, the first thing everyone thinks about is food. Because we feel like we need food to survive. We have to have food to survive. But the thing is that a lot of people do not know is we rely on food to soothe ourselves. There's types of foods that soothe different parts of us, unhealed parts of us, trauma, bonds, blockages, limiting beliefs, mindset shifts. So pretty much what that is removing my everyday foods. I'm drinking fruits. I'm eating fruit. I'm blending vegetables. I'm eating vegetables. Pretty much not having my day-to-day, everyday food to rely on. Let's just say, for example, I'm having a stressful day. Because I'm vegan, I don't eat too many junk foods. The only guilty food I eat, potato chips. That's my go-to. I don't drink. I don't have anything like that. Like, so after a stressful day, my thing would be to eat potato chips. Potato chips because they're crunchy, because they're hard, because they're salty. That's me soothing anger. That's me soothing stress. So if I don't have those potato chips, I have to figure out, okay, why am I angry today? Why am I stressed today? So not having those foods to rely on, now I have to dig into myself and what is really going on. So you face these things without having those foods that you're used to.
Ooh, that is so insightful and so honest.
Yeah. And I love
And
it. I
and the funny
absolutely
thing is,
love
you
it.
bring up about food. I know food, and I know food very well.
Mhm.
You can only Most people can only see me from the chest and above, so you really don't know. But I'm fat, and so I didn't get this overnight. I always say I used to have a keg. I used to have a six pack. Now I got a keg. I've earned this, but I'm about to lose it all. But
Amen.
I've earned
Mhm.
this, so I know food, and yeah. So yeah, I definitely know food.
Hmm.
Yeah. And just think how easy it is for us to go to the kitchen, open the pantry, open the fridge, grab a snack, sit down. Most of us we grab snacks and get on the couch. That's a lot of our happy places.
Yeah.
The couch, TV, grab the remote. But when during this particular detox, I can't just go to the fridge and grab potato chips. I can't grab whatever it is because the detox that I do, it's literally timed. I can only eat and drink at certain times of the day. And it's telling me what to eat and drink, how much to eat and drink. And I also follow the circadian rhythm,
So
which is 24 hours.
are you doing an intermittent fasting?
It's in there as well. So you're fasting as well as detoxing. So you're detoxing your body and you're fasting from certain things. So even during that detox, I don't watch certain movies like, and I love crime and drama, action. I don't watch those types of movies. I don't listen to. I love R&B, rap, pop, things like that. I don't listen to that type of music during the detox either. So it's like I'm pretty much just literally cleansing everything, and that's why I say detoxing is not just about what you're consuming through your mouth. It's what you're consuming through your ears, what you're consuming through your eyes as well. Your emotions too. And that's why I cut people out. I remove myself from social media. I turn my phone off, every once in a while. Don't just disappear on everyone, but I do still give that notice. Hey, it's that time again. So many people in my life know about my detox. So I'm like, hey, it's that time again. They like, oh, okay, well, we'll, check in on you afterwards. But 10 days, I have to. 365 days a year, I deserve to have 10 to myself. And that's another thing. That's another challenge within itself. We're so used to talking to people, being on social media. A lot of us wake up in the bed and we're scrolling social media. You know how much damaging information is on social media? Which was part of the reason why I have been off for so long. But I'm like, well, coaching is on social media. I have to put myself out there, but really just facing things that we rely on. You really don't understand how much you rely on everyday foods when you're forced not to eat them for 10 days.
But you know what? You bring up a good point, and that is this. You said that social media is a lot of bad things on there, but you got to get out there.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't really want to do it here, but there's a program that we have that can post on all social medias. Will knows this. I don't get onto social media. I have a hard time logging into Facebook. Yet I post on Facebook all the time because I'm not actually there, right? So you don't actually have to be there if you don't want to. You can just
Yeah,
post there, you know?
Hmm.
yeah. I'm getting to that and I have a system too. Because I'm currently in a coaching program as well. So there's a system that we use. It's an all-in-one system, and I'm especially with me getting off social media for 10 days. I'm definitely about to, like schedule my post and things like that because I can't just disappear for 10 days. And I'm like, where is she now? My algorithm, as Will and I was just talking about, algorithm is all way off. So I want to get to that point. To just automate things and where I don't even I actually joined a workshop. It's a guy, very, very successful guy, guru in the the coaching world. But I actually just joined his workshop the other day, and he says that he doesn't even have social media on his phone. And I was like, oh, I strive to be that way, And it's like I felt that, and I deleted the apps. I only have Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, but like I've never had TikTok, I've never had Snapchat, Twitter, anything like that. But I uninstalled the app off of my phone yesterday. But I understand, or I was okay with it. I only was like, I barely picked my tablet up, so I was like, I'm only going to log on my tablet or my laptop. But I have so much content in my phone. So I'm like, shoot, I'm like, because I haven't made that switch to putting everything, automated. I was like, geez, man. So I had to install the apps again today. But I know once I do my detox, I will not be on social media. So again, you as well, Dave. I strive to be like you. I don't want social media on my phone. And I think that's why I have a bit of a hard time with my content and creating, which is why my coach challenged me to be visible every day, because she's like, who's going to find you if you're not even around? I'm like, can they just knock on my door? Like, can they just dream about me existing and find me? But, I had to do the work and, put myself out there. But yeah.
The people that know me, they know I'm very outgoing. I see you in the
Mm.
grocery store, I'm going to be talking to you. No matter where I see you, I'm going to get you. I have the knack of like, I'll go to the watermelons. And there's a way to tell if it's a good watermelon. And instead of like knocking to see which one is hollow, I'll slap it. Be like, is this one good? Is this one good? Because I'm trying to attract somebody to help me out. If you play the dumb card, a lot of times you can win them over, and then you can get into them a lot easier than if you try to. Hey, you know what? I got something to sell you. You know what? I'm okay, but hey, I just don't know how to do this. Can you help me?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's kind of like, I don't know, it is, like going with the intent of doing that and then doing it. Yeah, maybe it makes you feel a little bit sleazy. I don't know. What do you think, David?
Hey, when I get to help people out,
Sleazy.
that's a Christian.
And human nature is funny. It really is. It's really funny. We have our minds and they're set up in a certain way, and we don't like, none of us like to feel sold to, even if it's like the best service, the best product, the best whatever. Like if we feel like we're being sold to, we're not interested. So,
And
David, I love the way the way you've like got it down to a science. Like you can only play the dumb card once,
Per person, person shoe.
per person, per issue. And and let me just ask you: have you ever been in a position where somebody was onto you and they kind of were suspicious at the least that you were playing the dumb card?
Well, I'll put it this way. A long time ago, my boss taught me that trick, right? And then when he became my boss, he's like, now the things I taught you, you can't use against me. I'm like, you taught me these tricks and I'm not supposed to use them? But yeah, from time to time, people will catch on, but then you just switch the card, you know?
Yeah, and I think something to remember here is like, what is our motive? Is our
Mhm.
motive to genuinely help people and meet them where they are and kind of get past their watchful dragons, right, of their reason, where they don't feel like they're being sold to, so that we can place ourselves in a position of strategy to help them?
Yeah.
Or is our motive like sleazy? Because if our motive's sleazy, then we're probably going to feel sleazy. But if our motive is genuine,
Yeah.
probably not going to feel sleazy. Probably going to feel pretty good about actually helping somebody. Uh, and then that can be tricky when we throw money into the mix.
Yeah.
And it was something that I struggled with for a long time. It's like, but how can I get this person, my client, to take coaching seriously?
Mhm.
Charge them.
Yeah.
Well, and you
Yeah.
know, it's funny you say that because I'll tell you something. I used to be a pastor, and when I was preaching, I never, ever since I first started preaching, I never accepted any money. And the church pays you. But I was like, no, put that to the other people. And they showed Bible verses. No, you're supposed to get paid and stuff like that. I never felt right collecting money. I didn't want to be one of those people that the money rose up and then you got too big of a head. You know, a lot of people, they come to God and then they go right away from him too because, greed. I
They
didn't want
got
to
what
be
they
that.
needed.
So when I
Yeah.
came to coaching, it was a hard battle. It's like, wait a second, I have to charge, but you got to make a living, you know.
Yeah.
Well, God will provide for me. Yeah, but it's like, he gave you the boat, he gave you the helicopter. Why didn't you take one of them, right?
Mm,
So it's a means, but we also, by having the buy in, it makes people want to grow.
mm,
If I give a 1% of what I have, it means nothing to me. I have 99%. But if I have to give 5% of what I have, I'm going to think a little bit harder.
mhm.
I want to make sure I make this work.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the bigger the investment, the more committed.
Hmm.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because, and that also goes to coaching in itself and positioning yourself as a coach, as authority. Because if you come and you have an offer, a coaching offer that's $50, let's just say you're coaching someone for 2 hours for $50. I'm going to look at that person like, what is that? $50, like, I'm not even going to want to give you. It's affordable, of course, more than the next program, but $50, I'm going to start looking at you like, what's wrong with, your offer? But if you position yourself and have a program or an offer for 500, 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, okay, now let me really see what this person is about. Now I'm more interested. Do I want to pay $1,000, $2,000? My pockets don't want to, but because I believe in myself, and if you're charging that much, then you have something to back up that $2,000 offer. So the more money you invest in yourself, you're gonna commit.
Amen.
Yeah.
Coaching is collaborative. We could be the best coach ever, but if our client's not showing up for themselves, it doesn't
Mhm.
matter. And I think that you said it right on key, right on key. Absolutely. You know,
Yeah.
we have to show up, and they have to show up too. It
Yeah.
reminds me of a story. When I was just kicking off my coaching practice, I met with a lady, Ramsey Lead, and we established this deep emotional connection. Like I called her, and it wasn't 5 minutes into the phone call, she was crying, and her heart was open, and I was injecting hope, and we're gonna do this, we're gonna figure this out. Uh, she had a gambling problem, and her husband and her kids they had left state and went to live somewhere else, and essentially her husband had told her, "Hey, until you get this gambling problem figured out, we're gone." You know,
Yeah.
they had been married for over 20 years. And I just had a bleeding heart for this lady. Well, I was a rookie coach, and this was like one of the very first prospects that I had come into contact with. I had a fee of $100 an hour, and really low, right? But I was, just starting out. That's what I felt comfortable with. So
Yeah.
that was my fee. And she said, "I can't afford that right now." And instead of me saying, "Well, when's payday?" She had a good job. She got paid a lot.
What did you say, Will? Oh my God, what did you
I compromised my price and my integrity and my value. And I said, "How's 50?" And she paid it. Well,
say? And this is a gambler?
and this is a
You
gambler.
let a gambler, but we live and we learn. I bet you won't do that again.
Never. Let me tell you, sister. Uh, our coaching session came up. It was like a week out. We scheduled for it. And I showed up. I was ready. I had been praying for this sister. I was just, wow, I was ready, And showed up. She wasn't even there. Called her, texted her, emailed her, nothing. The next day, she got in contact with me. She's like, I'm so sorry. I got her on the phone. I'm like, well, where were you, sister? I was at the casino.
And she just spent more than $50 at that. Ooh.
So you hit it right on the head of the nail. I mean, I'll never do that again. And I'm not gonna lie, my ego was hurt. But more than that, I'm not ever gonna do that to another person that puts faith in me as their coach. I failed her. I let her down. She hired me as her coach, $50, but she still hired me as her coach. That means something. And I let her down. I failed her. If I had to charge her my normal rate, hey, maybe she'd have done the same thing because it wasn't a lot. But now, today, if I had charged her my normal rate, she'd have been there.
Yeah.
She'd have been there. And we would have made real progress. So I've never compromised my rate since then. And I'm so glad that I learned that lesson early on.
Oh, yeah. And when you, especially when we have the heart, because there are some coaches who have the heart for it, but there are some people who have the mindset for it. It's a difference. It's a bit of a difference. It's very strategic here, but it's very genuine down here. And when you want to help so bad, like Dave was saying, you don't want to put a price on helping because that's what you want to do. I just want to help. I just want to help the entire world for free. I don't want to pay them. I don't want to charge anything. Just come so I can help. But also, like Dave said as well, like we all know, we still have to sustain our well-being and our living. And it really just it goes back to so many people can't afford it. But then you really have to step outside of your own limiting belief because I don't know what they can afford. This is just something they're telling me. Because if she can go gamble and not just using her, but since we were just talking about her, I'm sure she's spending 50 times, 50, whatever on gamble. If her family left, she's spending more than $50.
Her whole paycheck.
See?
I'm telling you. And
Exactly.
she worked at like at a reputable car dealership, been working there for over 20 years, one of the top paid employees, whole paycheck.
Commission with, oh my God. See? And like I said, so we don't really know what someone can afford. And we have the empathy for them. Like, oh, and in that moment you were just like, one, I want to help, and two, I'm an empath. That's what makes us great coaches. But at the same time, that's what allows us to handicap the next person. Because if they feel like, oh, let me talk down, or not even just trying to talk down the price, I'm sure she didn't negotiate with you. She just told you what she could and could not afford, and you were just like, oh, let me offer this.
Absolutely.
But it's like, and I'm actually, I have a master class coming up where I will be touching on investing in yourself because that's something that we don't do. Like, as Dave, all of us, we're foodies. We love food. As humans, we rely on food to survive.
Just to let you know, we're about halfway right now. So if
Okay.
anybody has any questions, feel free to bring them up. We love questions. If there's no questions, we're going to continue talking.
But yeah, so even if we cook at home every day, that's still a lot of money on groceries. Even if we go fast food, eating out, ordering it, that's still a lot of money. So it's like when we really choose to invest in ourselves, there's really no dollar amount. When you truly want transformation, when you truly want to change, when you've done some of the work, And some of the work can just simply be identifying that you have a problem with something. Whatever you feel you need assistance with, help with, you're struggling with, is a challenge, that's the beginning. Now let me do what I need to do moving forward. But some people may say, let me hire a coach. Let me go to therapy. Let me get a membership at a gym. Let me do something. But because, as I mentioned, we're so used to food and soothing, we're not going to invest in ourselves in the most healthy way. And that's a struggle in itself. That's an obstacle that we have yet to overcome.
Yeah, whenever we have that anger and that frustration and all those emotions just bubbling up from within us, and we have limited belief after limited belief after limited belief, and we're just looking for somebody to believe in us, because everybody that knows us, we have influenced them to treat us the way we treat them, with limited beliefs. They don't
Yeah.
believe in us. Why? Well, because we don't believe in them. We don't even believe in ourselves. So
Yeah.
we're just like, oh, and then we reach out to a
Yeah.
coach, and what does that coach do?
Believes in you.
And that's powerful.
Yeah.
And I've had some clients, we've restored marriages. If you're in a marriage and it's starting to be rocky, how valuable is it if your marriage gets restored? How valuable is it if you just get an extra $10,000 a year? Or what if you get an extra $2,000 a month? How valuable is this? So when you get a coach, it's like priceless of the personal
Mhm.
development that you're going to receive.
Yeah.
Amen.
The
Amen.
outcome, the transformation, it's so much more than what you feel you just dug out of your bank account.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you really commit yourself to that coaching program, that outcome, that result that you hired a coach for, it's going to be life changing. There's no money on a life changing transformation.
You take it to a movie. One of my favorite movies for the people that know me is Star Wars. And you got the Master Jedi, Luke Skywalker. Before he was a master, he had to go to Yoda for guidance. Yoda would light the path for him to go. Yoda was the coach.
Mhm.
Luke was searching a coach for guidance on what he needed to do next, where he needed the path he needed to take for the victory. And then he became a master.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's powerful. That's powerful. And I'll take it to another movie, The Matrix, Morpheus and Neo, you know? And there's a line there. There's a line in there that really stood out to me, guys. Morpheus is they're in the wall. They're running from Agent Smith, and they're like shimmying down this wall, right? There's like a little hole in the wall, and then there's inside it. There's plumbing and all of the stuff, and they're going down. There's bullets flying through the wall, and Neo is talking to Trinity, and Neo's like, "Where's Morpheus at?" And Trinity's like, "He's staying back, like he's giving himself for you." It's like, why? Because he believes that you're the chosen one, right? I think as it relates to us as coaches,
Mhm.
that is our everyday walk as we are the men and the women of integrity who we are coaching our clients to be.
Yeah.
Like we are putting in that labor and that sacrifice, not only for one person, but all of our clients, all of our
Mhm.
loved ones. Like we believe in them. And that is what's so powerful
Yeah.
about coaching. We believe in them. We
Yeah.
believe in them. How many limited beliefs did Neo have? I mean, they ran a program, taught him like jujitsu and mixed martial arts, and he was still getting his butt kicked. Right? And like trying to jump from one building to another, wouldn't land it. But when he started to believe, I mean, all of those bullets started to fly at him. He puts his hand out, stops them in midair. I mean, to believe, it
Yeah.
changes everything.
Yeah. And it's like when you really When you believe in yourself that I can, when you get that in your head, nothing else can take that from you. Even if someone's coming and reminding you of the many times you failed, or this is the fifth time you've tried to do something, if I tell myself every day affirmations, groundwork, whatever that looks like in your own personal journey, you do that work to tell yourself that I can. I don't care who said what, I can. And I'm going to. And I've been actually incorporating a new quote for myself when I say, comma, I do. And it's when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. And it's not to, get everyone else on board. Respectfully, it's not even about people half the time. It's just something that, like, I'm a woman of my word. Aside from that, I show up for myself because I have to. And that goes back to me saying when I was live every single day in November, my coach challenged me. I could have easily said, lady, no, like I'm not going live every single day. But I told myself, I'm doing this. And I did it every day, every single day at the exact same time, every single day. Because I told myself, I'm going live every day at 7 o'clock. I'm showing up for myself. And I did that. And I
Power,
actually, oh, go ahead.
power behind the coach that you had. As a coach, they take you out of your comfort zone and they push you a little bit further. They push you to the extent that you can handle because they can see it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's exactly what it was. Because at first, she said once a week. She was like, go live once a week. And I'm like, what? I'm like, that's a lot. And then she was like, actually, no, every day. I was like, whoa, look, I almost signed out and asked for a refund. Like, no, like, no, I don't want this. But I, I was scared right away because I'm like, social media, I don't even, but like I said, we spent a whole session just doing the work on why don't I want to show up live? What is it? What's my problem? What's the issue? What's my obstacle? What's my challenge? And we worked through that. And I was like, I'm going live every day. And I did it. So it's like we have to get out of our own way and to find someone who wants something for you, even when you don't know what you need or want for yourself. That is a powerful person.
Amen. And you said something really profound, sister. You said you were filled with fear as soon as your coach challenged you to go live every day. You were looking for that refund, that door out, right? Because of that fear. And well, one thing that I've noticed within myself is like I can use fear as a compass. If I know that I'm afraid, like if I hear something, maybe it's God giving me a prompting to do something, and I'm filled with fear, I know that I need to do that thing. I've seen that pattern in my life as something that it's uncomfortable. It's something I don't
Yeah.
necessarily want to do. Never want to do that. But once I do it, it's like, what the heck? That fear was just
Yeah.
smoke and mirrors. It
Yep.
wasn't even actually worthy of my.
Hot. Look, it wasn't even hot.
It wasn't even hot, right?
Yeah.
Crazy how that works.
Yeah. And that's when you get on the other side of it. When you are faced with it, that's when you see all the bad things. We can't see over it. But once we get over that, now we can look back and say, that was easy. What took me so long? I could have been done this. And that's how I felt every day. I kept getting more and more comfortable. I'm like, I could have been going live. Yeah.
A lot of people struggle with stress and anxiety causing mountains in their life. And all
Mm-hmm.
we have to do, the word says, you can say to that mountain, move from there and go over there. All we have to do is move those mountains.
Yeah. You have to start somewhere. We're so afraid of failing. We're afraid of fear. We're afraid of the unknown, the uncertainty. You don't know until you do it. Even if you're standing still and you feel like the next step is going to be my last step, you don't know until you take that step. And then once you take that step, that wasn't the last. Let me take another one. That wasn't the last. And you just keep going. But you have to get out of your own way. We have to change the way we see ourselves.
You just brought up a great point. You brought the word in here. How important is it, David, for you in your own personal walk on how objective truth is so important to have as an anchor, to not only use fear as a compass, but to have that objective truth, to have the cross of Christ there, knowing which direction you're supposed to go, what exactly your marching orders are. Love God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, and your neighbor as yourself. Like having that objective truth solidified in your mind, and then also using fear as a compass in accordance with that. Talk about that.
Well, I had a coach one time, and he taught me this little trick. I'm going to go a little dark here for a second, so just bear with me. But what is the absolute worst thing in the world that can happen to you? Absolute worst thing. You can die, right?
That's the first thing I thought of. Death.
Well, the issue at hand is probably not going to cause death, so we've already knocked one off the table. What's the next absolute worst thing you can do? And you just kind of nudge it down. Well, if you start off with the worst like that, you're going to go quite a far in, and it's like, this ain't that big of an issue. But let's take it a step further. I'm a sold out, born again, have an ever growing personal relationship with my Heavenly Father. I know that I know that I know where I'm going. So even if I was to die, great. Then I go to see my Father faster. There is nothing that can stop me or interfere me because I have something beyond that. If I'm here, I'm going to be working. If I'm not, that means I'm going to be praising. Either way, I'll be fine. So you start off with the worst, you work your way down, and it's okay. And even if the worst happens, great. Then I'm in paradise. So nothing can interfere you.
Mm, that's powerful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's in itself, in reverse, is taking one step at a time. So he started with the darkest, then he just kept going back. And that's where our minds start at, anyways. We're always thinking the absolute worst until we start overcoming slowly and started believing. Some of us, as you just mentioned, well, as they say, if you're going to worry, don't pray. If you're going to pray, don't worry. As people, we tend to do both. We try not to because of the word and what we're not supposed to do, what we're taught we're not supposed to do. Believe, have faith. You can't see him, but he's there. But in certain circumstances, in certain instances, we start to lean on our own understanding. And that's when fear comes in, the uncertainty. Not even taking that step because what am I supposed to do next? What if I do start and I don't finish? What if I can't even start because I tried something last month and failed? Yeah.
A consistent pattern that I've seen Jesus within me continue to work on is this whole idea of failing, trying again, failing, trying again, failing, trying again. And it's like, I need to master that before I get anywhere. If I can master that, then I don't think there's anything that I can't do. And it's not just uh, solely confined to me. I think that's all of us. If we master the art of getting knocked down and getting back up,
Mm-hmm.
look out.
Well, every
Just keep
single celebrity
trying.
does that. Michael Jordan, they don't count how many balls he failed. They count how many balls he's made the shot,
Yeah.
right? You have to fail in order to succeed. Because if you don't fail, how do you know it's not going to work?
Yeah.
The more successful people have failed more times than the people that's not successful. It's not
Mm,
that they haven't failed, it's that they've gone through a lot of failures in order to get to that place.
Wait,
I
exactly.
like that. I never thought about that. That makes perfect sense.
Amen. Hmm. Yeah. It's not. It's like LeBron James. He says it. I think this is what he says. You can correct me if you like, if you know. It's not talent. It's obsession.
Hmm,
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
And it's like when you dedicate yourself, you commit yourself to showing up, even if you do fall short, even if you do fall down. You're so committed and dedicated to, I have to finish.
Mm.
Because we give up so easily.
Yep.
We feel like, oh, that didn't work. We give it a half a day. Oh, that didn't work. And especially if we keep adding that on to something that we've tried before. That didn't work before. That didn't work. So now we're starting to doubt ourselves. Can I even do anything?
Yeah.
Am I even going to try this again a fifth time, a sixth
Yeah.
time? Like, no, like I don't want to anymore. But you have to keep going.
You,
Be obsessed with the
and
outcome.
those limiting beliefs are they can really sneak up on you, can't they? I was in my home the other day, and a longtime client, his card was declined. I've got him set up on a subscription recurring basis every month. Has been like clockwork, and it was declined, and I just got this dread that filled me. It's like we're done. We're never gonna like. And it was just like illogical. It was just very illogical. So I'm like, okay, that's stupid, and just fighting through it. And I reached out, texted him, and he's like, I think I said, hey, bro, you got a minute to talk? And he's like, yeah, I've got a minute, but not too long. And then that just fueled I was like, oh, what's going on, And so I called him, and we ended up staying on the phone for an hour, and I was and payment went through, and he got it all right, and he was just like, oh yeah, I hadn't moved money over to the account yet. But I think that was a reminder that even when it feels a certain way, it doesn't necessarily mean it is.
That's our perspective. We're
Exactly.
looking at it the way we are, not the way it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And we've got to go distill it out and find out what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the last thing we're going to do is blame ourselves for something. That's just human nature. We really don't like to blame, like, oh, that was my fault, my bad. But yeah, so you taking that, you ran with that. That was something that was in your mind. It may have been a trigger. Isn't it crazy that the word trigger is a trigger? But but that could have been something that triggered a familiar memory for you, another client not paying, you not paying. Like, it could have been a mixture of a bunch of things. But
Sure.
you went right, like Dave was saying, you went right to the worst. Oh gosh, this man is not about to pay. We're done. He's done. And then he added fuel to the fire and said, I have 1 minute, not too long. You're like, oh my, what is really going on? So it was just, you was letting it manifest. That phone call saved you from jumping over because that man was about
I
to
was
send
feeling
you
some
right.
type of way. I was feeling some type of way for sure.
But,
I was
but look
scared
how
to death.
quick that happened, though. That probably was a matter of like probably less than an hour. And
Yeah,
all those thoughts and negative self-talk, like, oh my God, why is he leaving? Or what did I do? All of
absolutely.
that started coming. Why doesn't he want to keep moving forward? He agreed to this. Why? All of that came up for you
And
that quick.
and you mentioned the negative self-talk. It's terrible. I'm learning, and and I don't mind being vulnerable. The viewers, everybody here in this room, David, uh, Tiffany, you're about to know. I do therapy. I go see a therapist regularly, bi-weekly. It's wonderful. I strongly recommend anybody that's not seeing a therapist to start.
Yeah.
Uh, and so anyway, the negative self-talk, that is what I'm running up against. It's up to me to come in agreement with who God calls me. holy, righteous, redeemed, his, like forgiven, powerful, mighty. Like it's up to me to come into agreement with that. If I'm not going to come into agreement with that, then I'm going to render myself null and void. So, the interesting thing about that is how can I come across not as arrogant, not as big headed or cocky, overconfident, right?
Yeah.
But have a confident yet humble attitude. That narrow, I think it goes back to the narrow way.
Yeah.
The narrow way is hard. Not many people find it. It's a narrow, it's a tightrope, isn't it? When we have to walk that. And I think that I find it, early in the morning on my face, praying to God, telling him my greatest fears, and saying, "Daddy, I need your help here. I feel some type of way. I'm so scared," and then him just feeling me. Mm-hmm. You mentioned, Tiffany, you said something along the lines of that. I'm searching for it. Human nature. You said it's almost human nature for us not to blame ourselves. I'm on the other side of that in a negative way, I think. I overthink, and I'm like, what happens if I said it this way with this expression or with that expression? Or if I had waited and let them talk a bit, to get there. Like, I'm constantly having to fight the overthinking. But I think I would rather that than underthinking it. But I'm still trying to find that medium, that middle. Yeah.
Yeah. But that also comes with the type of people we interact with as well. Because if you were having a conversation with someone, you wouldn't feel like you wouldn't have all those thoughts.
Mhm.
And I know we can't go around the world picking the perfect people to be in our lives because we're still figuring out who we are, even in our, as I said, in our big age. So we don't know who's perfect. We don't know who's for us. We don't know who's supposed to be in our world, who's supposed to be in our life, in our circle. But having that spirit of discernment to know who is for you, because when you're around the right people, those people will help you grow. They will help you move past some things that you've been struggling with, even silently. You don't even always have to tell people what your struggles are. But if you're around the right people, they're helping you, not even knowing that they're helping you. And they're helping you, and you don't even know that you're being helped. But when you put yourself in a different scenario with a different, type of people, now you're like, when I was talking to so and so, they made me feel like this, or the conversation went like that. Then that's when you start, these are my type of people.
Yep. And you bring a good point. It's all about the people that we get around, the people that we're around. Um, you were awesome. We loved having you here, and we definitely look forward to having you again. I do have to make mention, it's about the coaches, um, coaches that you get in your life because the coach is going to push you. So, we want to stretch out there for people. For the coaches listening, we have a community just for you guys that is going to be able to help connect coaches together. This community is going to have coaches from ICF, from Ramsey, from Tony Robbins, and from everywhere else. It's a free community, but it's basically so coaches can connect and make a bigger network. And that just makes a more powerful coach that you're going to be able to be united with. So we want to stretch out to all the coaches to reach out for the coaches community. We also have a program that's geared for coaches, made by coaches for coaches, and it's to help them out in their practice. We also are here dedicated for you, and so just make sure that you're using the resources to best help you out. And any final words before we go?
Can I go? Oh. I know Dave, thank you so much. It's definitely been a pleasure. This isn't Will and I's first time, but I have enjoyed the conversations, the topics. I love talking about God. I knew that was coming up because Will and I we had prayer on our call. So we actually closed out in prayer on our call. But is it okay if I plug in my company information? Can I do that? Yes. Oh, so yes. So again, as I mentioned, I am a holistic life and detox coach. I am the CEO and the founder of Transform and Thrive Holistics LLC. So everything can be found on my website as it is spelled out, transformandthriveholistics.com, as well as my Facebook, which is Coach Tiffany H. My Instagram, that's long, but my Instagram is I can only be Tiff with an underscore between each one. Just kind of, staying grounded in who I am. I'm not just a coach. So I left my Instagram personal for a reason. And my YouTube, the same at Coach Tiffany H. So yeah, anyone wanting to connect with me, feel free. I do have a Harmony chat. It's a 30-minute free call. No obligations, nothing that you have to do up front. Just connect with me, see if we can, work together and we can move forward in that way. But again, it is a free call and you can find that on my website as well.
Love that. Love that. Do us all a favor. Go on the YouTube channel. I can actually share it with you if you can't find it. Absolute Awakens YouTube channel. Share that link, okay? Share that link for all of us so that we're able to find you, okay?
Absolutely. I've been watching a stream. That's why my eyes kept going this way. So I've actually been on watching a stream. So yeah, I'll drop that information there as well. So,
Love it.
but thank you all so much.
Tiffany, it's been a pleasure for me as well. It's
Yeah.
good to connect again.
Yes.